Hi everybody, my name is Jim and I'd like to welcome you aboard Deuces. Deuces is our 2010 Lagoon 440 and we just finished an electrical upgrade on it. So it was an exciting upgrade because it got rid of some problems and it's going to make our upcoming trip across the Atlantic a lot nicer because Kaz and I are power hogs. That's normally where we walk in and go, "Hi everybody, my name's Jim and I use too much power," and everybody else goes, "Hi Jim." Yeah. So what did we just upgrade, you say? What did we upgrade?
Our DC electrical system.
More specifically, we just put on a serpentine belt and a alternator adjustment arms, both from ElectroMaax, and we also, which we'll show you on a future video, just added new high output alternators as well as the external voltage regulators for the whole system, a battery hub for the system, and a comm hub so that I can watch blinky lights on my night passages and see that all the electrical stuff is working correctly. Exciting, eh? Is it complicated? No.
Yeah.
Hold on. It's so complicated. The first step we're going to do here is we're going to put in the serpentine belt and pulley conversion kit. In conjunction with that, we're going to also install the belt tensioner. This is the Yanmar 4JH5E. The old alternator, which is a Hitachi 80 amp alternator, out. We're going to pull those out and clean up the area, and then we're going to put in a Hitachi alternator with the pulley installed because we're putting in a serpentine belt, so it's going to need a new pulley on it. And we're going to put in so that's going to get rid of a lot of the belt tensioning problems we had, as well as a lot of the dust and debris that was all over the engine compartment. Made a real mess of the place. And the old alternator pulleys have been corroded, hadn't been cleaned up and taken care of, so it was chewing through belts pretty rapidly. Okay, so let's get started. Parts are coming out. This is not your typical installation video where we're sitting in some sort of garage and have full access to every side of the motor. And this is actually in the port side engine compartment of the Lagoon 440. That's probably a 3/8 V-belt. 80 amps, about as much as you're going to pull with a 3/8 V-belt. If you're torquing it, which is going to then pull things out of alignment, which is going to wear out bearings, is going to cause more belts to be chewed up. It's just a real endless cycle of pain. So the order of march here is going to be that we're going to show you that you need to remove all the old components, starting with the old alternator and then pull the belts out, and remove the pulleys, and basically do a good cleanup. The key note here when you're removing the alternator is you don't need to undo the back bolt. Just pull the front one out. It's a 15 millimeter box end. Loosen it up, then go ahead and work it on out. The back one just holds in the spacer. The front one is what actually holds the alternator in. Once you got it free, make sure your wires are disconnected. All those wires are back. Tag, mark them, know where they go. Once they're out, go ahead and work the alternator free a little bit and lift it up and out. Next up, go ahead and start loosening the water pump pulley bolts. You'll need 4 of them to remove. It's a 10 millimeter wrench. If you broke torque on them initially when you had the belt still on, they'll be fairly easy to remove. Next up, you're going to be working on both pulleys. There's the water pump pulley as well as crankshaft pulley. Treat them both the same. The back sides of them need to have anti-seize, and then when you decide to put the bolts in, line them up and then have the thread lock liquid on the bolts. Just run them in to where they're basically hand tight. We'll get the final torque on them after we get the belt on. The upper pulley also requires a little bit of finessing. You'll notice Kaz is being very careful now about doing one bolt at a time, because to get them back out of the bilge if you drop something is a pain. She actually found that you could look forward along the bottom edge of the pulley from behind and actually see the bolt holes. With the upper pulley installed, now it's time to go ahead and move on over and shift focus to the tensioning arm assembly. Kaz is going to go ahead and start removing the old one. There's only one bolt that holds it on. It actually runs through the water pump, so you're going to get a little bit of coolant maybe dripping out of it. Nothing to worry about. It'll seal back up once you put the bolt back in with the new tensioning assembly. Take your time. Don't want to drop anything. Being very deliberate on all this stuff will make it so much easier. And here's the new bolt. Here's the new tensioning arm assembly going in. Same bolt goes into the same bolt hole. You don't want to run it because you're getting ready to put in the alternator next, and so you'll have to have a little bit of swinging action on that arm when you get ready to pull it in. Next up, we're going to show you the Hitachi with the wide pulley on it. Yours truly getting ready to go into yoga position number 27 again. Doing a familiarization real quick on the back where all the wires are going to go. We already got the foot on this one, so we're going to go ahead and should drop right in. We'll put the 15mm bolt through it to hold it in that pivot position, which you didn't see on that shot, but it's there. And now we're putting in the tensioning arm assembly. First thing to do is go ahead and slide that bolt up. Or slide the alternator up and then put the bolt through it. If that bolt doesn't go all the way through, you may need to chase it out with a tap and clean out the threads. Next, you can put the actual adjustment bolt in, and it'll go in and thread all the way into the, I don't know what to call it, the alternator slide bolt. There's a lock nut that goes on the end of it, and I recommend putting it on now. That way when you run the adjustment nut or the adjustment bolt down, you can just hold the lock nut in place. That's what the finished assembly looks like. There's a lock nut holding the alternator to the adjustment nut. There's a long bolt, the adjustment bolt that goes through, and then there's a lock nut that locks that in place. It's real easy to keep this all straight. Connecting of the wires is your last and final step here. You should already have them tagged from red and black using the connector and the photo that you took. Our true final task is going to be setting the belt tension. So let's go ahead and tension the belts now. First off, you need to know the span that you're going to be working with. In this case, it's 9 inches. Supposedly, for every inch of span and a 5-pound pressure is applied, you should deflect 1/64 of an inch. For us, that comes out to a little more than 1/8 of an inch for the 9-inch span. So we'll go ahead and adjust up our tension on that. Once you have your tension set, don't forget to go back and double check the torque on all of your pulleys and your alternator pulley. And double check your wiring, and then you're ready. So next time we're going to be going and taking you through the process of installing our GenMaxes, our EMAX voltage regulators, the battery hub, and we'll even delve into a little bit of how tech support works, because we did have to use them through no fault of their own and all fault of mine, but we did have to use them, and the support was exceptional.